see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, get any?
You're listening to the Captain Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right. How we're doing? Hello. And I can honestly say, yes, we are on Instagram. I think there's a little bit of a delay, but it's cool that I can actually say that we are on Instagram because, I've been wanting to do this, and it's just a matter of clicking this and clicking the other thing. So yeah, if you're over at Instagram, thank you for being here. And I hope you got a chance to see, obviously, the intros. And I haven't done them in a while, and I need to start doing them again. I know I'm going to make my boss very, very happy for the Northeast Streaming Sports Network or the National Streaming Sports Network, depending upon if you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube or Roku, because we are on Roku right now. Yes, you can fucking cuss. I got to drop it because people say, because for the longest time, it was like, hey, I said, please don't cuss. But they had the meetings, and we went to a parental, an adult. Okay, there you go. I knew there was something there, an adult format. So we can cuss. I still try not to, but sometimes you just got to drop an F-bomb. I won't even say but I want to say hello. Kenneth Clark, my buddy from Palatka, is here. Thank you there, Ken. Good to see you. How you Jags looking, brother? Carlos is in the house. Are we in quarterback purgatory? to be determined. I don't think so. I honestly think, and I had this in the thoughts when I did my show. Now we know. It's if you listen directly to what the am I is there an echo, or is it maybe it's the Instagram? Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I have to keep Instagram on in order to keep the feed up. But anyway, if you listen directly to what the words were by Coach Pierce, he stated that Gardner Minshew gives us the best opportunity to. Thanks, Carlos. I appreciate you. I can hear something now. I know I'm watching, actually looking over my shoulder on the Phillies game, and when I stopped watching them last night, they won. So maybe I should just turn them off. It's a tight game, 3-2. I think it's going into the top of the ninth. But anyway, ahoy! There's my girl. I was wondering, I got to have a Dory sighting, because if I don't have a Dory sighting, it's just bad luck. Bob Standard, I haven't seen you in a while as well. Carlos, thank you for the sound check. No echo. Thank you, sir. Rick Samarano. Aloha, my brother from Hawaii. Dory's from Hawaii, too. So Rick's from Hawaii. Dory is from Hawaii. She lives in L.A. now. So they got the Hawaiian connection going. Oh, and I was talking about the purgatory. Yeah, I know. I say, and then I squirrel, and I get off subject. But here's the thing. If you listen to what Coach Pierce said, he said that Gardner Minshew gives us the best opportunity to get out of the gates and win here for the first quarter of the season. And I said, we got 2 games away. Actually, the first game is a home game in LA, but it is technically an away game. But you're going to be playing a Chargers team that, even though the coach wasn't involved last year, we put 63 on them last year. 63. And the people that are still there are going to remember that. I still think we could win. We should win. The question is, will we win? Just like we have the Denver Donkeys by the balls, they've never beaten the Las Vegas Raiders. Unfortunately, the Las Vegas Raiders have never won in SoFi, which sucks. So what's going to happen first? Are the Raiders going to win in SoFi for the first time? And by the way, that also includes playing the Rams, and the Raiders play the Rams this year. We've never won in SoFi. Hopefully we can go 2-0 in SoFi this year. But we're going to need to come out of the gate. We're going to need to play strong. We're going to need to have our stuff together. And having a quarterback that can scramble, that knows the offense. And I think he knows the offense well enough. Who is that? Might be my next door neighbor. He knows the offense well enough for what is going to transpire. I have no qualms that Aiden O'Connell can come in at any time and play well. I have no qualms with that. I think he will eventually be the quarterback starting this year. I really do. But I am going to see what the Raiders' record is. Is this the... Oh, no, it's the top of the 8th. Okay, good. So the Phillies got 6 outs. Anyway, I want to beat the Garglers so bad. Oh, my God. It's a personal thing. For those that know the personal quirks of a certain millennial ass fuck. Gargler fan. Anyway, I want to whip the Garglers so bad. I've hated the choker since I was young. Yeah, I got you, Carlos. I believe the Raiders defense will have Herbert running like a chicken. That's if he plays. And for those that don't know and have just haven't been able to figure it out, here's your answer right here. Here's your answer right here. And I will also say this, that when Coach Defense was on the Wild Wild West show, we had a good rapport. Coach Defense knows his team, knows his stuff, and was an adult. So until such a time as I feel I can go back to the show and enjoy it, if asked, that's the three things. If I feel I can go back to the show and enjoy it, and if and when asked, those three things. Oh, Coach Defense, great guy, Carlos. He was devoting more time to his family, to his work, and to his network. So make sure if you can, Coach Defense has his own YouTube network. Go and view it. And by the way, Coach Defense is going to be making an appearance. This is a great segue, by the way, on the NFL Nation Live show. We're going to start that next Wednesday. I know that Mike Sarah was watching the show yesterday. And that was a show that I did with the National and or Northeast Streaming Sports Network. That was their show. And it was the last time I would have a chance to do it on that timeline. So I said, sure, great guys. I love the people. The Mac is the boss. Actually, technically, Mac's wife is the boss. So maybe if I hear from them, you'll say, yes, I give due to the boss. Mac is maybe he's the boss, but it's really the wife. Yeah, Chris, I know. I'm they're over my shoulder. Phillies are on Fox. Yeah, and yeah, he's doing his own thing. Carlos, great guy. Salute to you, Anna Diaz. Thank you for coming in. Permission to come. Always permission to come aboard. So Coach Defense has his stuff going on. And but Coach Defense will be a guest on NFL Nation Live the week before we played the Chargers. So I think that would be I know we do the show next Wednesday, but is it the Wednesday after that? I think so. I think we have our opening show, which is next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, Wednesdays. And like I said, Mike Sarah, you were there. Make sure, obviously, you come back and watch that show. I love doing the NFL Nation Live with, obviously, Ref Guru, the Hall of Famer himself, Violator, Wayne Mabry, and some old crusty pirate. But we have a good time. But we're going to have some guests on the show, too. So we'll be having that show on my channel and on the NFL Nation Live channel. And if I can download it from my YouTube, I will probably, I'm going to figure out, I can do it. It's just a matter of time. Download the YouTube show and I'll put it on National Streaming Sports Network because it's a great show. And if you're watching the show for the first time, because there was a lot of new people that came in last time, which was awesome. It was great. Hopefully, a lot of it is from the feed that's on Instagram. I don't have my phone with me. I probably I don't see the. I can't. I don't want to do anything here. I don't want to hit the X because I'm afraid that if I hit the X, then Instagram's going to stop. I don't want to do that, but I know that I'm on Instagram. But again, Instagram, we got it on YouTube. We got it on Facebook. We got it on Twitch, obviously on Roku TV. Again, great to have everybody here. If you're new, please let me know. If you're not, I haven't seen anybody new yet. Phillies right now. Now, did the Phillies, the bottom of the eighth now? Did I miss the top of the eighth? Did they not score? I don't know. I don't know. Chris will tell me. It was 3-2, top of the eighth. Asylum, good to see you. And while I'm doing plugs, Asylum has the Cage Match show on Wednesday nights that follows NFL Nation Live. I don't have the volume on, so I don't know what the score. Lance Dominguez, hey, good to see you there. Oh, it's bottom of the eighth. Crap. So the Phillies didn't score in the top of the eighth. Lance Dominguez and his Green Bay Packers, who I believe are they playing tonight, Lance, over here, like about 25 miles east of me? Maybe it's a little more in Kansas City. I know that the Kansas City Chiefs are playing tonight. So, Chris, thanks. I did good last night on Football Talk with Bo, talking college football. Okay. Was that the show that I did with the National Streaming Sports? I'm not sure, but hey, if I did a good job, thank you. And thank you for the compliment as well, Asylum. Lance, good to see you for your Packers. Meeting Dan Fouts and Charlie Joyner was cool. I actually have a autographed Charlie Joyner football in my house. I bought it for my son, and he'll get it eventually when I'm not around anymore. But he is a Hall of Famer, and it is an autographed Charlie Joyner football. And I always respected Charlie Joyner. Dan Fouts I can't stand. And Junior Seau, yes, Junior was a great person in San Diego. We had a great show last night. Oh, Miss Peggy. Oh, outstanding. Can't wait to do, and great. Thank you again there for giving me another segue. Can't wait to get started with the shows with Miss Peggy. Not sure what it's, I mean, it's what, Tuesdays with Peggy. I'm there, but it's basically I get a chance to hang out with Miss Peggy on every other Tuesday. We'll see when we do the show. I actually need to contact her. Don't know when we're going to do that, but hopefully that'll happen pretty soon too. Great, and Miss Peggy's awesome. So I think I did right. I promoed and pimped NFL Nation Live. I promo and pimped the Cage Match. I promo and pimped us being on Instagram. Obviously, now I will say this, and again, I am here in Kansas, currently doing training. Thanks there, Asylum. Give me some cues. I am doing training in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, when I am doing my work. And I'm starting to do exercises where I'm on 12 on, 12 off. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it was Florida. It's not Florida. It was Florida State, not Florida. Thank you, Chris. I'm like, no, it's Florida State. Now I know what you were talking about. But I get a chance to crack on Mac. And when I'm wrong, he'll tell me. Keith, is it England? It's Keith. I'm brain farting his name, but Keith is very knowledgeable. Mac is an old school guy. He got me. We have a good time. We're all crotchety bastards. Went out in the bottom of the eighth, 3-2. Okay, so let's get all these guys out, and let's have a nice ninth inning rally. Quick side: will you be at the Broncos game in Vegas, November 24th? I am supposed to be there. I am supposed to be there. But anything is. Things are kind of up in the air right now. I'm supposed to be there for the Broncos game. Actually, Bronco Mary. Well, okay. I got to be there because Bronco Mary is going to be my guest in Vegas. Great lady that she is. She gave me some great seats a couple years ago, and I told her that she was going to be in Vegas as my guest. Now, I might not need to be there, but she's going to be in my seats. But I'll probably be there. Need to find your ride for Saturday. Hey, if it's Saturday as long as it's after 3:30. If it's after 3:30, I'm available, Asylum. And hey, I'm ready. Just let me know. I have a couple more Raider t-shirts available. Thrash, good to see you. So we're getting more people coming in again. If you like what you see, share. Come on over. I will stop talking in a little bit, but yeah, just talking about some great things. It's been very hard. I do history with the Giants as well, but both Bay Area teams as a youth are always going to be going to. Okay, they'll still be going on after. Oh well, hey, come get me. Come get me. I will be there. I got nothing else going on other than I want to go to the Phillies game because it's in Kansas City. And if I don't go Saturday, I definitely want to go Sunday. Because they're right down the street. 2 outs. Screw you, Arcia. Oh, get him. Please get him. Yes. I can't stand that son of a bitch. So for the Phillies, it's Harper, Castellanos, and Stott in the top of the 9th. Hopefully get some runs. But that's a paid-for political announcement. Washington Commanders screwed up with the Jahan Dotson trade. Yeah, I mean, it's in the same division, too. You rarely see that. So what else is going on? I said that the Chiefs are playing as we speak. So it's like 8:30. Let me see if I can Google the Kansas City score. So let's see. KC Chiefs score. Okay, they are losing 10-0 to the Bears. In the second quarter, 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's preseason. None of the Chiefs starters are playing. None of the Bear. Well, I shouldn't say none of the Bear starters. I don't know. I don't care. But and you gotta get. I gotta hate saying this. You gotta give them their due. They are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Preseason doesn't matter. They're 0-2, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Anyway, what I want to see tomorrow is, I love seeing Kansas City lose too. I know. And that's why I made the comment on Facebook the other day. Oh, this is new. Let's see what this. So Bristol Motor Speedway is going to have a baseball game next year. Chris, thanks for the info. Did not know that. Bristol Motor Speedway with a baseball game. Okay. That's good. I didn't know that. Did not hear that. So that's good news coming in from Chris. Thank you. Is that Redox? Redix? I don't know. Oh, Braves versus Reds. Okay. In August. But that's this month. Is it next year? Next year in August. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Chris. I didn't know that. So I learned something new. It's one of these things you talk, you listen, you read, you get information. If you want to come into the show, it's the Reds, not the Red Sox. Reds. Oh, I see. So Silent was talking about the game too. Okay, so kudos to both Chris Lentz for the news and kudos for Asylum for trying to pop in. And I do think, they mentioned it on Fox. Well, I don't have the volume on right now. Okay. Oh, Harper out on strikes again. I've seen him whiff at least 2 or 3 times tonight. And Bryce, if you're that great player that you are, this is the time you need to make it count. This should be it here. Yep. So Castellanos is down 0-1. Iglesias is I guess he is the regular Atlanta relief pitcher. Got power. So I'm going to see here. Nope. Oh, that's a ball. That was definitely a ball. Anyway, if you are watching on Instagram, I can't see. And Castellanos strikes out. I just saw the catcher throw to third, so that's 2 outs. Well, all these games with the Braves have been tight. The Phillies, they lost and they won, which meant it went back, and then they lost. So they can give a game back up, providing that, maybe Bryson Stott can do something. I'm going to quickly watch. That's a strike. Yeah, the other one, the Castellanos, was definitely a ball, and they called it a strike. But so what else is going on? I'm going to see here. I was very upset when the Phillies. That's a strike. Come on, man. That's the same pitch you just had for a strike. Right, the knees. And I think this is the last trip to Atlanta for Philly this year, and obviously I'm here in Kansas, so I won't see him this year in Atlanta. That's out. Yeah, don't chase that. But if you want to come into the show, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Obviously, the big thing is the quarterback, quote unquote, controversy. They lost. Okay. So having said that, I can turn off the TV. But yeah, very, very tight games. All 3 of these games. If you want to come into the show. Yeah, I like this short too. Born in the 60s and been a Raiders fan ever since. Yeah, I saw this. I said, yes, I got to have it. So if you want to come into the show and you don't have to listen to me, just talk. And if you are watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're watching. No, I thought that they were going back to Philadelphia. I thought they were coming back to Philly. Because they was in Philly, then they went to Atlanta this trip. I think next week they're back in Philly. Check that, Chris. I'm pretty sure it would be Philadelphia. If I'm wrong. Only for Houston? Anyway, hit me up. Again, if you are watching on the National Streaming Sports Network and Northeast Streaming Sports, watching on Roku. If you're watching on Instagram, thank you. I can't see any of your comments on Instagram. So come on over to YouTube. If you're watching, thank you. If you want to come into the show, did I put it up? Yes. I put the link up. Here it is. Come into the show. We've been on half an hour already. and I've just been flapping my gums. It's a lot better. It's a lot better when you participate with me, because I just saw Philly lose. Bummed. Oh, that's what that sound was. It was a door in the hallway. Okay. Anything else? I do know that, the good news for the Raiders is that Colton Miller is back off the PUP list. He can probably maybe play week 1, maybe. JPJ, no. Bowers, didn't know about this. Was it a foot injury? Don't push him back quickly. Raider Mo, good to see you, brother. We're going to need all hands, all healthy hands on deck. God, I want to beat the Garglers. But, don't. I'm embarrassed. Every time I do a show, I friggin' yawn. Don't push people back too soon. Not down playing AOC, as would rather have them start for the experience. The reason I say, okay, I'm glad you explained yourself. Because if we have a decent season with Dinshu, our draft pick goes down. But here's the thing. I'd rather have a good season with who we got. And if you want a quarterback, you're at least going to be going to a team that's decent, that might just need a quarterback. I don't know. I don't want Deshaun Watson. I don't want Dak Prescott. Those guys might be available. Tannehill is still available, but we're not jumping on him. Is there somebody else that might be available? We'll see. But if you want a quarterback and you want them in the draft, the teams that are really, really sucking are teams that have taken quarterbacks in the last 2 years. So you can jump to see somebody, and if you want somebody, you can get them. They're talking about, Shedeur Sanders. That's a pricey. That's a pick I don't want to take. Might have all the ability in the world, and you're seeing all of these. And we were talking about it on the show the other night. You're seeing all of these quarterbacks that were fantastic in college and just sucked in the pros. Do you want to take a flyer on Shedeur Sanders? No. If you have Clinton Ewers, is he going to be a first rounder? Maybe a second rounder. Unless he has just a balls out year. And then he's gone. And then you got Arch Manning playing in Texas that'll come in for him. Yeah, I get you. I get you, Simon. Yeah, this guy is Simon. Yeah, I know. I think we'll be okay. It's in Philly. Kruk messed up with announced. Yeah, okay. Well, that's the Krucker. JPJ won't play next week, but Colton Miller and Bowers will. Okay, thank you for that. I'm actually doing, studying in school and doing what I need to do to get this job. So I haven't been, sucking up and it's one of those things where I'm back to being in a military environment where during the day I am cut off from the world. The phone is locked up. There's no TV. There's no internet. You're tuned in to the environment that you're in. So for 8-9 hours out of the day, I don't know what's going on. I'm glad I had a chance to, when I was going home and I saw the information pop about what they were talking about, with Tua, denigrating, Brian Flores. And I had a chance to read that. So at least I was knowledgeable of it. I just literally just read it. So I'm cut off. And I know that after this show, I'm going to bed because I got to get up early. And Asylum, if you can get a hold of Dolores or Anne Marie or anybody that lives out here, I'd love to go. I'd love to go to the event. I would. I'm right here. I'd love to go to the event. But obviously I don't have wheels. If I get wheels, I might be able to finagle wheels for Sunday. And if I get wheels on Sunday, I'm going to try to go to the Phillies game on Sunday if I get wheels. No. Yeah, we're doing military, but it's just the whole atmosphere there, Carlos. Yeah, the whole atmosphere. Pear. Oh, my buddy. My Scandinavian buddy. How you doing, sir? Great seeing you. Great seeing you. And I'm on record. I am on record saying it. If the Raiders play in Europe while I'm still alive, and I have the invite from Pear, it's got to be those two things. If I'm still alive and Pear wants to hang out with me, because he said it before, I don't want to just assume I have a place, but I will go over and Pear and I will steam the hottest Scandinavian babes imaginable. So hopefully that'll happen. Pear, good to see you, brother. And you take care on your drive as well. Yeah, C-Dub, it's getting done. If I wasn't working, then working I would. I get you, Pear. I got you, but it's not the age, it's the tread on the tires, bud. It's the tread on the tires. You're in a lot better health. I'm telling you. A lot better health. Lobby has not impressed me. He better show something. But remember, hey, Mike, here's the other thing. Remember, we don't see practices. Because if we would have saw practices and knowing what we know about the schedule, maybe it would have been easier to decipher that Minshew had the job. But we don't see practices. We don't see the inner workings. So we don't always know what's going on. And those beat writers, they only get a glimpse too. Well, Pear. Remember, buddy. Let me see. Not that I'm going to do my entire medical history. Let's see. Bad heart, sciatica, diabetes, sleep apnea, going to be rolling around on a scooter. So that's it. Yeah, I know, Bob. Took 2 or 3. We discussed that. Practice. We talk about practice. But there's other things going on. Is raised in 20, so the average human being should live well into their hundreds. Carlos, brother, my first goal is next March. Next March, I will be 60. Knock wood. Next March, the end of March. So basically gotta wait till April. Not an April Fool joke, but gotta get to basically the end of March of next year, and I'll be 60. My first goal is to live to see 60. So if I get that, I'll be happy. Then everything else is just bonus on bonus. So I was talking about lobby, special team specialist, see what he's all about week 1. Oh, my God. Oh, I got a fight between Mike Sarah and Asylum now. Anyway, Mike Sarah's 58, but hey, Mike Sarah's in a hell of a lot better shape than I am. Mike Sarah works out, lifts weights, doesn't smoke. I don't smoke. I don't drink. Mike Sarah, I don't know if you smoke or drink. I don't think Mike Sarah smokes. He might drink, but Mike Sarah's in a lot better shape. Yeah, 1 decade. Checking master about information, next year's Bristol baseball game, tickets, information camp. Oh, okay, thank you there, Chris. So we're gonna come in. We got a guest. We got somebody to come on. Thank goodness. You ready, buddy? You ready to reader mode? Did I see? Was that a high and tight? Was that like a high and tight or like a one of those? It's not quite a high and tight. It's kind of like a not a Valley Girl thing. You know what? No, I'm not knocking that. You know when have the girls where they have like it's really short here and then it's puffy. That's what I'm saying. I'm not calling you a Valley Girl. Please don't take it as that. So yeah, I can't hear you until I put you on. So I just saw it. I said I see this, and then I don't see anything here. So that's what it is. So it's all puffy. How you doing, Mo? Good to see you, man.
I'm doing good, Captain. Just been working, busting my ass.
Well, good. I can honestly say I've been working here, training. So when this job is done, I will have a great part-time job. Great part-time job. I just won't have something that I will need to get another part-time job for that.
So the thing with my hair is they've been getting on us at work about grooming and making sure that we look presentable more.
Yeah. Well, it's a military type of a job, not military, but it's a military type job as a guard.
Yes, it is.
Well, there you go. That's what it goes. You can't be an old man like me with long hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't finished it off yet. I still need to finish off one side, and I need to get the back of my hair as well.
Okay. Well, I see. I have a wonderful, awesome, beautiful, gorgeous stylist who I will see when I get back.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take care of this, and hopefully she'll hook me up for the season. She always does great stuff. So, but how are things? Is that your new apartment that you were hanging out with? Where is this?
No, I'm at my folks' house.
Oh, okay. Well, tell them I said hey.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just been working a lot, trying to figure out my game plan for this season, which games I'm choosing on going to. I was supposed to go to last week's preseason game.
Mm-hmm.
I did not catch at all.
You didn't miss anything. In fact, it's a good thing you didn't see it. Good thing you didn't see it.
I did see who Coach Pierce picked as the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gardner is a good quarterback to start us off this season. But I spoke to a couple of co-workers of mine, and a few of the inmates that are into American football as well, and they all say a lot of the similar thing. Gardner, they look Gardner as if he's another Fitzmagic.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's a good backup or fantastic backup.
Mm-hmm.
But you put him in the starting role and it's a hit or miss.
I agree. Like I said, he's a relief pitcher. He's good. He's good when he comes in off the bench, and
Yes.
He's good if your starter is injured, and he needs to come in and finish the game, and then maybe play a week or two. That's his forte. That's his forte. But I also say that and I'm not saying he's the next Rich Gannon. I'm not saying that. But Rich Gannon was not afforded an opportunity until he got to the Rays. I mean, even when he got to the Chiefs and they kicked him out over Elvis Gerbach, I mean, they screwed up. So he went from Minnesota to Washington to the Chiefs, and then he comes to the Raiders, and he's the Offensive Player of the Year MVP, right? So can it happen again? Maybe. But I just want the Raiders to play well the first portion of the season, and then if they say we're going to we're going to incorporate AOC into the game plan, I can see that. But I just don't want Minshew just to be just bass backwards horrible.
No, yeah, and that's true. Because yes, Gardner is a good quarterback. Hell, he beat us twice when he was with Indy.
Well, he beat us last year. I know the time before that, I believe, was when Hollywood and I were there, and it was Jacoby Brissett, and we beat Jacoby Brissett. But I'm pretty sure I know he beat us last year, but that was the only time he played for Indy. Now, granted, he beat us as the Jaguar. I believe when it was the last game in Oakland, he was the quarterback for the Jaguars, I think, and he was the winning quarterback against the Raiders that game. Because I don't think it was Sunshine out of Clemson. I'm pretty sure it was Minshew. So
Sunshine came out of Clemson. I believe the year that we had moved to Vegas.
Yeah. So it wasn't. I think it was Minshew who won the game for the Jaguars. So he has, and I'm pretty sure on that. So he has beaten us twice.
Yeah, and like I said, he's a good quarterback. I believe, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Raider Nation can agree with me that AOC should have been given the more of an opportunity to prove himself. Because if you look at both preseason games, and I looked at the stats, both of them are similar.
Yeah.
The thing that killed AOC's opportunity
was that pick six.
Yes, it was that interception.
Yeah. And I think that had he not thrown that pick six, it would have been a lot harder to name Gardner Minshew as the starter. But with that pick six, and people say it was against third stringers, it shouldn't. Well, it didn't matter what the defense was. He screwed up throwing it. It could have been against first stringers through third stringers. Could have been against a JV team, but he made the mistake. That was what is sucks about it. But I'm gonna ask your opinions. I got Mundungus here. You know who Mundungus Creevy is? He is the gentleman that runs the Mile High Roundtable Network. He's a Bronco fan. He's a nice Bronco fan. Yeah, well, one of these days, I'm pretty sure Mundungus is probably at home with the wife and kids, so he probably can't come on. But he does comment because he can stay quiet and comment. But what are your thoughts on Bo Nix starting? Because remember, and I was trying to read today, I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. Maybe Mundungus could comment on it, that Sean Payton psyched out the Raiders that he wasn't going to be going after Bo Nix, but basically all along he was going after Bo Nix. So when was it J.J. McCarthy was picked, the Raiders thought, oh, well, Bo Nix will be there. I hate saying it, I'm kind of glad. Mike Sarah confirms it was Minshew. I'm kind of glad that the Broncos took Bo Nix, because I don't think Bo Nix would work in Getsy's offense.
And that's the thing. I didn't think Bo Nix was even on our board when it came to.
He was. Yeah, no. Well, he was gone. He was gone. He was gone. But I would be curious to see if the Raiders had Bo Nix rated above Bowers. I don't think they did.
I do not believe that at all.
Yeah.
As well. And I figured Bo Nix would have gone to someone prior to us, regardless if it was Denver or not.
Mm-hmm.
And Bo Nix is a fantastic quarterback. I'm a big Pac-12 fan. I do have to eventually switch over to the Big Ten now. USC switched over to. But Oregon has always put out good talent, and I saw Bo Nix as one of those other quarterbacks from Oregon that was a really good pickup for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
See him being higher on our draft board than Bowers? No, I did not think that.
Okay. See, Mundungus says that and Mundungus, thank you, because the Raiders would have taken Michael Penix.
Yes,
I firmly believe that that's who they were targeting. They were targeting Michael Penix, and then when the Falcons grabbed Penix, the whole shit show of what happened after that led to the Broncos. If the Broncos were all in on Bo Nix, they got Bo Nix. But again, I'm very happy, and again, it was one of those things where I'm glad Penix was gone. I'm glad Bo Nix was gone, because if those quarterbacks go to the Raiders and he doesn't get the tender loving care and the great quarterback coaching that they need, it's a wasted pick. I think that Luke Getsy and Mundungus is saying that everybody sucks in Getsy's offense. Hey, they only suck if they don't have the right players. And we'll see. We'll see. It's a hell of a lot better than the offense we had last year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And even our defense has improved tremendously.
Well, the run defense has sucked in the preseason, but it is just the preseason. So we'll see that. But this was the year for the quarterback. And next year, I don't know who's going to be. Like I said, if you want a quarterback, if the Raiders want a quarterback, there's going to be decent. I don't want to say great. There's going to be decent quarterbacks available in round 2 and 3.
And I don't see Sanders going high. I don't see Sanders going in the first round. I see him dropping down to at least a second or third.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his attitude. It's his attitude. And I understand. He comes what is he? His father or
his father is lineage. When you have prime time Deion Sanders as your father, and you're getting all your athletic traits, and he's a great athlete, and he's going to be a fantastic football player. The question is, will he be a fantastic quarterback?
How well will he fare without his father?
Yeah,
being 4-7.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But remember, Hines Ward was a quarterback in college and was a fantastic receiver. Antoine Randall L was a fantastic quarterback. Well, okay, above average quarterback
Yep.
in college and was a fantastic wide receiver. So those guys made the transition. Will Shedeur Sanders make the transition? I don't know.
And that's another thing. Shedeur, he plays. I believe he plays both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah, he can play both ways. Yeah.
And I've seen both highlights of that, and I think he would fare a little bit more better as a quarterback in the NFL versus a backer, I believe he is.
Okay, say that again. Say that again, bud.
I think Sanders will fare better as a quarterback than at his secondary position.
Oh, then being a D-back. Yeah, I think so too. But the thing is that will he stay as a quarterback or will they move him to a gadget guy? You know, that I don't know. That I don't know. And I agree that this is a great conversation between Mundungus and Mike Serra, you know, and about when you have a quarterback in Jimmy Garbajopoulou in McDaniels' system, that's horrible. And Steve Mahala, good to see you, brother. Good to see Steve Mahala come back. He thinks Bo Nix is going to be a fantastic quarterback. I didn't want the Raiders to draft him, and then everybody would have said, look at the Raiders picking a bust in the first round. Bowers might be injured right now, but Brock Bowers, I don't think will ever be a bust. I don't think he will ever be a bust. So I got that. So what now? I haven't seen you on in a while. What are your projections for the Raiders this year there, Mode?
Well, going into this week, I know we have a very tough matchup with San Francisco tomorrow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen what their preseason record or preseason has looked like, but
horrible. Well, they played the Vikings and they beat the Vikings in the first half. You know, ones on ones and twos on twos. They played fantastic. Then came the second half where those guys, maybe 5 of those players that played in the second half against the Vikings are going to make the team. So that was horrible. And they lost in the very last seconds on a field goal. Who cares? But they didn't play. They didn't play a very good game against the Cowboys, and a lot of the starters are not going to be playing against the Niners. So it's going to be who's going to get those last roster spots.
Yes, and all Raider and Niner fans know that it's always a tough battle between both teams, whether it's preseason or regular season.
Yeah,
and like you said, right now it's a matter of who wants that last few spots on the roster going into the season. And I think it's a manageable matchup for us, but I still see us falling to the team from the other side of the bay.
I'm not gonna cry.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cry. I mean, will it be horrible to lose?
It will.
Yeah,
especially after the fact that we saw them not too long ago playing in our own stadium.
Oh yeah,
in a Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure AP is preaching that to the team as we all speak.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the regular season, I see us hopefully in the hunt for that last wild card spot.
So you don't think that the Raiders have any chance of winning the AFC West?
I believe we have at least second place.
Okay. So you're saying that the Raiders are going to be in second place and maybe get a wild card spot.
Yes.
But you think they have no capabilities of winning the AFC West?
It's still a tough division, Captain. So, and like I said, I'd still see it as we start off the season strong. We do drop a few games in the in the middle, and then finish the season strong as well. But eventually, with beating San Diego at least once, or hopefully sweep them this season, which that's actually my prediction is we sweep San Diego.
I
We split.
want to beat the Chargers both games. I really do, because I just want to shove it in the face of that fucking millennial asshole from Wild Wild West. Yes, it's personal. Yes, it's personal.
Along with the split with both Denver and Kansas City. But I believe because of the strength of schedule that we have, we do that second spot in the division, and we still hopefully hold out that last spot in the wild card.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And Steve Mihalik, my buddy from Tampa, says that its first two games are must wins. If the offense flounders, will be 7-10. I think that if the offense flounders early, but I don't think the offense will flounder for the entire season. I think that the Raiders have the capability, if everything goes as planned and everybody plays to what they can, the Raiders can win the AFC West, but they can also be 8-9. So I don't know. It just depends on what team shows up. So we'll see. Mode, I'm gonna let somebody else come on, brother.
All right, Captain.
Oh, see, this is Mundungus thinks that the Broncos are going to be in second place. Okay. I think Mundungus is smoking some good,
and
some
that's
good
a
shit.
lot of people are projecting is the Raiders finish third. I don't see that. I see the Raiders finishing second in the division due to strength of schedule and head-to-head with Denver.
Yeah. I think Denver will finally beat us this year. That I can think. I don't think they're going to sweep us, but I think that Denver will finally beat the Raiders so they can say, well, we finally beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Because Denver just had the same schedule, had the same record as us last year. They were playing well at the end of the year, and they have a good young rookie quarterback. But maybe I'm not paying enough attention to Denver, but I don't think that if you go who they have going for them and who we have going for them, especially by the end of the year, I think the Raiders will be better than the Broncos. That's my opinion, but we will see. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And Mundungus, I will be more than happy to come on Mundungus's show and hang out and talk with Mundungus on his show anytime I can as well. And Mundungus is he's unbiased as far as his opinion. He's good for that.
Oh, yeah.
He's good for that. And I said that, Mundungus, the Raiders and the Broncos had the same record last year. But the Raiders beat them head-to-head twice, which is why they had the second place finish.
Yes.
So we'll see. Mode, take care, brother. Come back in another time. Always good seeing you as well.
You too, Captain.
Be well, partner. And say hi to the family.
Sir, yes, sir. Arr.
Arr, you bastard. Arr. That's my boy, Raider Mode. Well, Carlos, I am going to say this. The Broncos can be happy. The Broncos can be happy that they have a they have a quarterback. Whether he is the second coming of John Elway or he's the second coming of Jake Plummer, we don't know. So I went back with that. Remember, the second coming of John Elway or the second coming of Jake Plummer. We don't know. Denver, Vegas, a pretty even roster. So great. And again, I like Mundungus's insight because he's analytical and he's fair. all comes down to the quarterback. And Minshew's moved from team because he has a ceiling as a good backup. Mundungus, I agree there, but I think by the time the Raiders play the Broncos, and I know that at least the second time, by the time the Raiders play the Broncos, at least the second time, I think the first time they play, because you were asking if I'm coming to Denver, I will be working then. It's in the October. But I think by the time that the Raiders play the Broncos, maybe even by the first time, I think AOC will be playing those games. And I think AOC will be like pumping. Like I said, I thought AOC played better this preseason. I thought so, but that's just my opinion. And I agree with this. I think our defense is better than Broncos defense. And yeah, so you got to see where your defense is on the reload. I agree with that. It's going to be tight games. It's going to be, because they always are. It's always tight games. So, but it'll be fun. And again, Mundungus, I'll let me know when you have your show, and I'll try to come on your show. And I also agree with this. Minshew is middling. He's got good numbers, but he's got a better roster. He's got a better roster with his offensive weapons than I think he's ever had before. Minshew just needs to learn not to, because he's great at scrambling, but sometimes, kind of like what Justin Fields was doing in Chicago, he scrambles too quick. He needs to learn to go to that, because he can get away, he can get out of the pocket, but he needs to go and learn maybe to get that third or fourth read. That's where Minshew's problem is. AOC needs to learn how to run out of the pocket and keep it alive. Yeah, and I agree with Asylum. The AFC West games are always tight. Everybody in the division. Oh, and Mike, Sarah, thank you, Mike. Mundungus, this is for you. According to Mike Sarah, Brock Osweiler is brought to bear. Bo Nix is the second coming of Brock Osweiler, maybe not even as good as Jake Plummer. But if Bo Nix is fantastic, then we'll be eating our foot. We'll have athlete's tongue. And so I like the comments that are being made between Mundungus and Asylum. So I will just I'll stick it. If you'd like to come into the show, we're going to put up the streaming again. Come on into the show. The Mokes saying we winning the Super Bowl. Okay, well I'm hoping. I think the Mokes is a Raiders fan, and Asylum agrees with me in the fact that Minshew runs a little bit too quick. I know, Mundungus, we know Brock Osweiler was bigger than Bo Nix. But I like the comparison thing. Hit the link if you want to come into the show again. You are watching the Captain Jack show. It is, you don't know Jack about sports. That's the Thursday show. We will be, again, starting next Wednesday. Make sure you are here on the NFL Nation Live show, which is on NFL Nation Live. It's also going to be on my YouTube. So if you're watching YouTube on this channel, it'll be here. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, NFL Nation Live, starting next week, Wednesdays. So come on in and watch on YouTube. That's one reason why I'm definitely not available for the Wild Wild West show. Again, I haven't been asked back. So I'm just saying that's another thing. I was supposed to try to get with Richie Mundungus, but I've been busy here at school, and he's busy as well. So it's not that I'm not mad at Richie. Mundungus knows I'm not mad at Richie. Jack Kenna knows I'm not mad at Richie. It's other shit going on. And we still broadcast that on this channel because it was a great, I'll have to say it was a great show. Just saying. Defense will be top 10 per Carlos. Granted, great. Top 5 piped in by Asylum. I can see that. Mike Sarah thinks Knicks will be good. I think it'll be okay. He's better than what they've had there. People calling Adams a diva, but I prefer him not getting hurt during preseason. Yeah, but I think that I agree he's a diva. Yeah, I know, Ken. I saw that. The Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. What is it, a 5 or a 6 game lead? I have to see. They're either up 5, maybe it was 6, maybe it's down to 5. But the Phillies just need to keep rolling. And remember, though, the Braves won the NL East the last 2 years, but were taken out by the Phillies in the playoffs. It's not really what you do in the regular season. It's what you do in the playoffs. Oh no, I got you, Mundungus. I'm not saying for you. I'm not saying for you to be an arbitrator. I'm just letting you know. No hate and discontent to Richie. Six now. Okay, thanks, Ken. So okay, it was 7, then it was 6. So it went from 6 to 7 back to 6. I like 6 better than 5. I like 6 better than 5. Oh my God. There is a Creevy sighting here on the show. I thought you were with the kids and the missus. I was not counting on. And you're always invited. You're always invited.
I am. I'm hiding in the room.
Okay, I won't say anything. How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I finally got a part-time job. So that because I haven't been working since last September, so it's good to get some income in, and it'll be great when I finally get paid.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's good.
So, and I love the comments that you and Asylum are having. Okay, it's good back and forth, and I try not to be an asshole. So I like when other people come on representing their team. We had my boy Clayton is a fantastic Bronco guy, and he's on all the time, and it's great to have him come on. And I let other people come in because they talk about their team, and it's great because you learn about the other people's teams by expert knowledge from guys that take their team as the number one thing in their life, at least what they're looking at. So, and I like the fact that you're saying, and which is true, the Broncos were 8-9, the Raiders were 8-9. The reason why the Raiders were number 2 last year was because we beat you twice. I do think that the Broncos will finally, and I hate saying this, I think the Broncos will finally beat the Raiders this year. I think it's just been way too long.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we talked about on Tuesday on the 5280, we were talking about the AFC West in general, right? I don't think that there's any debate that the Chiefs are still atop the division. I mean, they're going to have to prove that they suck before anybody puts anybody over the Chiefs. I mean, the roster got better. They still have Andy Reid,
their roster only got better by a little. I wasn't really impressed with anybody they got.
All they got to do is get rid of Kadarius Toney, and it's already better. So
true. Did they get rid of Kadarius? Did they get rid of Kadarius Toney?
He's on the roster bubble,
and I don't think he should be there. I
No.
see, and I'm a Gator, and I think that Kadarius Toney is one of the greatest cancers, kind of like Percy Harvin. They're the same player.
Yeah.
They're full of themselves. They're very athletic, but they're not a great team player.
Kadarius Toney could go outside with a bucket in a blizzard and not catch any snow.
Brum-bum.
That's basically how it is. But we were trying to break down the AFC West. Now, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of bias because, Broncos fan. But you look at the Chargers, right? And until proven otherwise, the Chargers are going to Charger. Like, Harbaugh's there, yes. But they got rid of their receivers. They really don't have any proven receivers right now. They don't have Austin Eckler anymore.
Mhm.
Like, we don't know how good they're going to be. Joe Alt is a rookie. No idea how he's going to play. The offensive line has never been good for the Chargers.
Yeah.
So you look at second and third place between Broncos and Raiders, right? Like, you assume the Chargers are probably going to finish fourth because they usually do.
Which will make me giggle, goony, goo goo about that certain person that thinks they know shit about their team, and I just can't wait to that person.
Right. So you look at the Broncos and the Raiders. So the Broncos at periods last year had the best defense in football as far as turnovers go and points allowed for like a 6-game stretch.
Yeah.
And then it just all fell apart. So I don't know how the defense is going to look because all I can base it off of is preseason, and nobody plays their starters the whole preseason. So you have no idea what they actually look like. It's rebuilt from last year. We don't have Justin Simmons, so I don't know.
And and not having Justin Simmons, how hard is that, or how much is that going to affect your defense? I think it's going to affect it a lot.
I think it hurts my heart more than anything else. But we have to see how the safeties are filling in. We have Brandon Jones. We have Devon Key, Kadarian Smith. I mean, there are guys that can take his place, but aren't going to be able to fill his shoes until proven otherwise, right? Like, when you look at the Raiders, you look at the Broncos, there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Whether it's quarterback, whether it's interior defensive line, whether it's corner, whether it's running back, there's a lot of question marks. And so it's interesting to look at the two teams. And so when you're breaking it down, there's one big difference between the Broncos and the Raiders, and that's coaching. Because you look at Antonio Pierce, and he did a really good job as interim last year.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between a good coach and a bad coach is your coaching hires. And right now, we don't know what the coordinators are going to do. We don't know how it's going to look. We think we do. But Luke Getsy, to be fair, has a history of not working out without Aaron Rodgers. So I'm not saying he won't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying a lot of my opinion of where the Raiders and Broncos are going to land depends on coaching. We know where Andy Reid is. We know where Harbaugh's at. We know where Peyton's at. We've seen them. They've been in the league for a long time. Antonio Pierce, there's still a question mark.
Right, but can I bring into the equation that it's not just Antonio Pierce? Okay, right. He brought in Marvin Lewis. He has Tom Coughlin with him. So these guys are proven head coaches for teams that are fantastic. Coughlin and Marvin Lewis especially putting their mark on it. Rob Ryan is still there doing his defensive things with Graham. And probably Graham, and I don't even know, other than Spagnuolo, I think that Graham and Spagnuolo are probably the two best defensive coordinators in the division, in my estimation. I can't remember who the Broncos D coordinator is, but I don't even think, and I think that the D coordinator for the Chargers is not somebody that's going to be effective.
Yeah, D coordinator for the Broncos is Vance Joseph, came over from Arizona.
Yeah, no, Vance Joseph is okay. I take it back. Vance Joseph is a very good defensive coordinator. I will give him that, but I don't think that with the teams as it's stipulated now. And again, we'll have to see where all of the bells and whistles come. But if you go by Spags is on top. But Graham, at the very end of the season last year, the Raiders had a top 5 defense at the end last year. So we need to get back to that.
Yeah, and this is why I draw comparisons to the Broncos and the Raiders all the time. Because as a fan who's gone through 8 years of horrible quarterback play, horrible coaching, I get it. And that's why one of the things that you have to figure out when you're looking at between the Broncos and the Raiders is the Broncos have had new coaches with ex-head coaches on staff to help the new coach and failed miserably. You can look at Nathaniel Hackett. He had 3 or 4 ex-head coaches on the team, and it was awful.
But were they head coaches of renown? Were they decent head coaches?
Yeah, for the most part. You had, I think, 3 different head coaches. We still had Gary Kubiak at one point on the team.
Yeah, but Gary Kubiak was always a good to great. I'm going to give Gary Kubiak his due. Good to great offensive coordinator, kind of like Norv Turner was a above average to great OC, but he sucked as a head coach. Gary Kubiak was the same way.
Right. And again, I'm not saying that AP is not going to be a good coach. He very well could. Just at this point, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't look at Eberflus, right? Good, the head coach of the Bears, good defensive coordinator, good at calling defensive plays.
But not a good head coach.
He failed Justin Fields. That offense was bad. And it wasn't all Justin Fields' fault. You look at Caleb Williams and how everybody gets so excited on these special plays that he's doing. If you go back to last year, Justin Fields is doing the same thing.
Yeah,
they just surrounded him with a lot more talent. You give Justin Fields, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Roma Dunze, he's going to have a good year too. So
I agree.
It's a lot of it is looking, and again, one of the offensive coordinators for Eberflus was Luke Getsy.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that AP is going to be bad, but you can't. That's why I kept saying in the chat, temper your expectations, because I'm telling you, if you go into the season Super Bowl or bust,
no,
you're going to be really mad.
I have never stated the Raiders are going to the Super Bowl. I said I put $50 on it as a throwaway bet. Hi, honey, how you doing? I'm Captain Jack.
This is Riley. She's my 6-year-old.
Hi, how you doing?
She's got snacks at school tomorrow, so I had to go buy a bunch of cookies.
Oh, well, throw them my way.
I want donuts.
You want donuts? That's not happening.
Well, tell Daddy he can buy me Krispy Kremes.
Well, I'd bring you some donuts if you were going to that Raiders game.
Partner, I honestly, here's the thing. Going to Denver anymore, and I hate saying this because I had a great time with Mary 2 years ago for that game, but I was treated pretty horribly by a lot of the people there. And then that was 2 years ago. And then last year at the opener, my buddy Hollywood was totally eviscerated with horrible fans. His wife was assaulted. Seriously, his wife was assaulted. The security did nothing other than told him, look straight ahead and don't worry. They basically didn't do anything. And I'm saying, and I'm like, I'm not relishing going back to Denver again. I got my Denver ticket. I don't need to go.
It's that type of stuff that ruins it for everybody. Honestly, I don't like the Raiders. I don't like the Chargers. I don't like the Chiefs, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make you feel like crap. We're at a game. It's fun. Let's go watch the game. Right?
And for I want to make people to know, Mundungus came up to see me 2 years ago in the parking lot, and you got You got a big, and it's like, make sure you post the picture again sometime because it was a fantastic picture.
Oh yeah, I still got it.
Yeah, but no, but see, I love particular fans, but they're like you're the 1%ers, right? To take a political term, you're the 1%ers. It's the other 99% that are real fucking assholes. I won't say real fucking assholes, but of the 99%, maybe 66 of the 99 can be downright fucking assholes. And I don't need to do that anymore. I don't.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, everybody pays for a ticket. Like, we all had to buy a ticket. Like, why are you ragging on them because they like a different team? They spent the same money you did. Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they're coming to Denver, paying the Broncos to go to a game, and you're going to get in their face? Why?
And a lot of it is alcohol and weed.
Yeah. Man, that stink walking into the stadium.
Oh my God. The contact buzz was like there, man. And,
like, again, I have no hate towards any team.
Yeah.
But if I'm trying to look at it as unbiased as I can from an outside point of view, there's more question marks on the Raiders than there are on the Broncos. Just because of when you look at, like, there are certain players on defense on the Broncos that there are question marks on. But when it comes to the coaching staff, there's really no questions. And I think that's the big difference between the Broncos and the Raiders. If you have equal rosters, but question marks on coaching staff on one side, you have to go towards the proven coach because you don't know what you're going to get with the Raiders coaching staff.
Asylum, when I was talking about weed, I was particularly talking about Denver. Talking about Denver because it's Denver now is kind of like what Oakland was back in the day. Alcohol and weed. So it was a bunch of it. So I wasn't slamming. And again, Vegas is different, and Vegas will never be what Oakland was. But we're trying to grow it, and it'll actually transpire if and when, and I did say if and when the Raiders start winning consistently, so that when you have these fans from other teams that take over the stadium because it's Vegas, going to Vegas, baby, we're going to go gamble. We're going to go see a few shows. And, oh, by the way, we'll go see our team while we're there. And that's until that gets out of people's system. And it's going to take a while, but it's still going to always be there. There's always going to be some team that's coming in at their marquee trip is going to Vegas. And it's always going to be like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Asylum has a question. He said he wants me to ask you. I think that he said that your head coach is like McDaniels. He's a control freak. So that's true.
The Bears have Eberflus?
No. Oh, Bears head coach is like McDaniels. Eberflus. But no, there was another question, I think. What was the question, Asylum, about the Broncos? Because I'm sure I don't know. Because when it comes up again, I'll let you know. But yeah, Eberflus was good.
I'll see if I can answer it without knowing what the question is. So let's just go with the assumption that it was Sean Payton is a control freak type thing, right?
No, actually, I got it. It was the head coaching experience on each team. Basically, Payton as a head coach, and Payton is a great head coach, but Payton is a head coach with a great quarterback. He really wasn't anything without, what's his nose? The guy he had
Drew
Brees. Thank you.
I have made the same argument. Like, when we were looking for a new coach, I was like, you have Sean Payton, but without Drew Brees, didn't really do much. I get it. And I think that's why Broncos fans are so excited, because I'm not exactly sure where Osweiler came into it, but if you look at Bo Nix and you look at Drew Brees, there are a lot of similarities. Now, I'm not saying that Bo Nix is the next Drew Brees. I don't know.
Right.
But the processing speed, the pocket presence, the ability to escape out of the pocket and throw the ball on a dime, that's all stuff that reminds you of Drew Brees. And so if you look at it from that point of view, if Bo Nix is anywhere close to Drew Brees, you can see why Broncos fans are excited.
Yeah. And I think the Broncos have a decent quarterback on their hands for the first time in forever.
Yeah.
But it's always come down to, and again, Broncos, Raiders games, like I said, all these years, they've been close. And they always will be close because it's Broncos, Raiders. And even though you got a good quarterback, you can say the same thing about the Chargers. But what is Justin Herbert had to show for his time in with the Chargers? Nothing.
Right. Well, and that's another coaching thing, right? Like you look at Brandon Staley, and was it Tom Telesco? Was he the GM?
Yeah, he was their GM. Yes.
They did not surround Justin Herbert with anything. He never had a good offensive line. The defense was horrible. They had Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen wasn't being utilized properly. Mike Williams could never get his hands on the ball repeatedly. And that's why with Harbaugh, you know what you're getting. But then at the same time, like they got rid of those receivers, so you don't know what the offense is going to look like. They don't have Eckler anymore, so you don't know how the running is going to look. They've got a rebuilt offensive line, so that's why I'm assuming, going off of what was just said, that the Chargers are going to be last in the division.
Yeah, and by the way, I will give Telesco his due. Actually, my buddy Sharif Salah Khan, great. He's great for picking up things. He calls him Tom Fiasco. Okay, because of the you can use that, but make sure you copyright that it's from Black Thanos, Tom Fiasco. Here's the thing, though, Telesco was good at drafting, or at least the first couple rounds, and then he kind of dropped off in the latter rounds. But as far as the contracts were from the Spanos family, which is why they got in a lot of trouble, because he wasn't doing the contracts with the Chargers. It was Spanos's kid, and that's why they sucked on contracts. I will give him that.
No, and again, like drafting was good for the Chargers, but they weren't utilized right. And that's the difference between a good head coach and an okay head coach, right? Like look at Marvin Lewis, right? Marvin Lewis with the Bengals was a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great head coach, a good head coach.
Yes.
He was able to hang around, but he wasn't really able to get anywhere with it. It's the same thing with who's a good example? Now I'm going through my head trying to pick out coaches. Sean McVay. They're always able to hang around, but not quite able to reset. They got that one Super Bowl in there. But before that and since then, it's just kind of been, we'll hang around, but we're not going to do much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is what Asylum was alluding to via the head coaching tree, is that, Marvin Lewis, Joe Philbin, and Tom Coughlin, who is a consultant. Hey, Tom Coughlin has 2 Super Bowl wins.
Tom Coughlin, yes. Joe Philbin,
Okay. Marvin Lewis got the Bengals to several AFC championship games. In fact, had Carson Palmer, I believe, gotten not injured, they probably would have went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, and again, I completely understand. John Fox is a perfect example. Good head coach, gets you the AFC championship, can't get you over the hump.
Well,
So
John Fox did get the Panthers to a Super Bowl, just couldn't win it. Couldn't win it. Yeah.
So, and that's why trying to figure out 2 and 3 in the AFC West goes back to coaching. It all depends on if you brought in the right offensive coordinator, if you brought in the right defensive coordinator. Because look at Pittsburgh and Matt Canada, right?
Oh,
like,
yes.
You thought Matt Canada was going to be great.
That made me
and then
giggle.
It was horrible.
makes me giggle talking to Stiller and said correctly, Stiller fans.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
but there's no debate on if Mike Tomlin is a good coach. There's no debate. Like, he is a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But they were brought down by Matt Canada. That's why I'm putting Denver second and the Raiders third until we see if Luke Getsy was a good call, if the other coaches he brought in were good calls. Like, it all depends. And like,
Yes.
I would love to sit here and say Denver's going to be amazing because of preseason. You can't judge anything on preseason.
No, it's preseason. Now let me ask a question, because and I'm honest, I haven't watched any of the Wild Wild West in like forever, and so I get my intelligence from other people.
Do you want to know a secret real quick?
Sure.
Neither do I.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't have time.
Well, that's another reason why is I don't have the time. But are you getting intel from Richie Riche was saying that he thought that Nix was not going to be the starter from jump, and it was going to be, either Stidham or Wilson. Did they suck that bad?
No. So, I mean, Wilson wasn't great. Jared Stidham wasn't bad either. I think the difference was when you look at Jarrett Stidham, he is a very vanilla quarterback, right? Like, he's going to dink and dunk. He's going to get it down the field, but it's going to be boring. There's no big plays. There's no, like, when he escapes the pocket, he's going to run for 2 yards and slide, right? There's no, like, run it to the line of scrimmage, jump up in the air and chuck it like Mahomes does, right? And I think that was the big difference, was you saw Jarrett Stidham making the plays that should have happened, but not able to do anything past that. So they would get to 3rd down and 8, and then he'd pick up 3 yards, and then they'd punt. Whereas with Bo, it would be 3rd down and 8. He'd get out of the pocket, throw it on a rope for 7 yards, and then they'd go for it on 4th and 1. That was the big difference between the two, was Bo was able to get creative with his pocket presence and make plays happen, whereas Jarrett Stidham is going to be a good emergency backup if something were to happen.
Yeah, and I think that Jarrett Stidham and Gardner Minshew are of that same mold. They're very good plug and play. They come in when you need them, and they're going to hopefully win you a game if the starter goes down, and maybe can play 1 or 2 games beyond that. And that's why I kind of thought that that Minshew was going to be that relief quarterback for the Raiders. The relief pitcher quarterback.
Right.
And you start with Aiden O'Connell. But I really do think that come game 5, 6, maybe, that AOC is going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. Now, granted, God forbid that Minshew gets injured, that can happen quicker. But what I'm saying is, if all things being equal and Minshew is still healthy around game 5, 6, maybe to the 7, but I think that AOC will finally take over the realm, and that's going to be the quarterback that you're going to see for the Raiders for a while. That's going to be our quarterback for a while. That's just what I think.
Let me give you a comparison and tell me what you think. So if you look at Gardner Minshew, he reminds me a lot of Drew Lock. And I say that because the arm talent's there, the in-the-pocket presence is there, but when things break down, they make poor decisions, whether it's on the run or in the pocket. That was one of the big things with Drew Lock, was something would break down, or he would get past his second read and not know where to go and just chuck it into double coverage or triple coverage and get a pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what seems to happen to Minshew a lot, is he's good when he's in the pocket and knows where he's going with the ball. But when it breaks down, he's got the athleticism to get out, but then doesn't know where to go with it.
We'll find out. We'll find out. I wanted to hear this. Asylum, if you want to come in and do a head-to-head with Mundungus, as long as, I hope I'm not keeping you up and your wife's not going to be mad at you.
I'm going to have to go in a couple minutes.
Okay. If you want to come in real quick, Asylum, because Asylum, he has a show on Wednesdays called The Cage Match. It's obviously very Raider-centric, but he's on his own YouTube channel, so you can look him up, The Cage Match, on that's the YouTube channel. He does a show on Wednesdays as well.
I will check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Great guy. Ed Winchell, good to see you. AOC 12 was bad at least 3 games. Yeah, AOC 12 was not the greatest against Kansas City, but the Raiders won. So it's a matter of if your quarterback is decent and the defense is great, you win games. That's why I'm saying we just need a decent quarterback. And Mundungus, I am gonna let Asylum come in so you guys can meet face to face. So it's the Old Man Beard Club.
Oh,
here
look
on
at that
the show.
beard. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I like your beard too. I wish mine was a little fuller, but like Captain said, I think we got all 3 stages of the beard right here.
Right? I keep trying to get rid of this skunk stripe, but every time I color it in, like 2 days later, it's back. It won't go away.
You know what? I got a little bit of black showing in mine. Otherwise, it's all there. I'm in between you and Captain right there when it comes to the color and shit. You
I'm
can't
not
get rid
even
of it. Just
40
embrace
yet.
it.
No,
Dude,
I
I'm
embrace
40.
it.
I embrace it. I'm 40. I just turned 47, and I'm almost to Captain's level. Just embrace it. It is what it is. They say with grade comes wisdom. So I just consider myself wise.
Now, with all these beards on here, I just want to say one thing. I put this little beard oil in here this morning, and it smells like peppermint. Don't ever do that. It is horrible, and it makes your nose sting.
Okay.
Okay, well, I don't do beard treatments and definitely not peppermint, but that's good to know.
I
I'll
didn't
keep
know
that
there
in
was
mind.
peppermint in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, I actually, there's a gentleman by the name of Gravy who's on YouTube as well. He's got some really nice beard treatment, and I should use it more often. I have beard treatment at home, but I just don't use it very often because maybe for the rest of the time here I will. But my beard treatment container is a skull. You can't beat that. You
can't.
That.
Not as a Raiders fan, you gotta have the skulls. You gotta have the skulls. I have tattoos on the back of my hands that are combination Raider related with the swords through the skulls, with their skulls, with the swords through it. So it's kind of that individual, but still Raider related.
I would say Mundungus, by the way, for those that because we've always wanted to know, where did you pick up the name as your moniker? Because I know you've said it before, but for those that don't know, we got the guy on for a couple minutes more. Go ahead and talk about Mundungus Creevy.
So I've always been a big Harry Potter fan, right? Like just one of those movies and books that I love. And I was starting to get into Denver Broncos podcasts, but you never know like who's watching, who's listening, who's commenting. So I didn't want to put my real name on it because you never know. Right. So I was like, well, what am I going to name myself? So I went and I found a make your own wizard name thing. And I put in my initials, and that's what popped up. I was like, yep, that's perfect. So Mundungus Creevy it is.
Well,
I like it. I got respect for that. I got respect for that.
Yeah, well, even Kevin, when he was talking about me, and Kevin always throws he's one of my guys. He goes, Captain Jack is bringing his Mundungus to LA this year, talking about my schwanz. And it works, whenever we have those good things. So, but again,
well, in case anyone was wondering, I am not Captain Schwartz. So.
No, you're not. No. My schwanz is my schwanz. You're not.
We each have our own.
Hey,
yes.
Is that like the Schwartz? The Schwartz is that like a Schwartz?
It is. It's like the Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you.
Wow, that got really graphic really fast.
Well, here's the thing. Well, anyway, because you said you had to go, and Mundungus, again, thank you for, again, the man at the Mile High Roundtable Network. Make sure, if you want to check out The Enemy, a lot of great shows on The Enemy. It's good intel. It's good intel on The Enemy. And I told Mundungus about your show, The Cage Match, so I did the cross-pollinization of what's going on there. So, hey, don't say I don't ever give you some good stuff as well.
You always do, Cap. We know. We just got to come on and you cross pollinate everything. We know.
Yeah, I like to cross pollinate more than I am, but I haven't been able to.
This is getting dirty again.
I'll just leave it at that. Hey, but I do want to thank you for coming on, brother, because I wasn't expecting it, and I didn't even pimp you to come on, and it was my pleasure when you popped in. I said we have a Mundungus Creevy sighting on Captain Jack Show. You're always welcome, brother.
I try to jump in when I can. I snuck away while the wife was taking a nap. Figure I got some time.
Well, good. Have your wife nap more often.
I will try.
Okay. You take care, brother. Again, Mundungus Creevy of the Mile High Roundtable Network here on YouTube. Get all your information about those damn Denver Donkey Broncos.
Ouch.
The Broncos.
Great guy. Make sure you check out Mundungus. Hey, and you're gonna be closing my show there, Shipman.
Hey,
so how are you doing now?
It's not the first time I've done this.
Yeah, you're definitely going to close it out. I'm going to go the full 2 hours. So, and again, I saw your comment. Don't get me no, and I let that in the comment section because I don't like to address it. The only time I address it is when it's directed right at this guy. Okay, but I heard from you. I heard from said person in other ways. I said. And don't be surprised.
Oh no, that's between me and him, and I got no problems with that.
Yeah.
I have my reasons for what I said, and this starts way back, but it kind of started last couple of episodes with everything, and that's between the two of us, and I have no problem keeping it between the two of us. And if he ever wants to come on to my show, we can gladly go head to head on the cage match, or we can keep it in the chats. However he wants to do it,
well,
we can keep going the way he wants to go.
I am going to address this, and this is what he said. He said, if it comes to a point where he's on screen and he sees it, it's not going to be in the comments anymore. He's going to address it. I'm just saying.
Hey, all I have to say is it's about time because it's not the first time I've called him out on his shit. And that being said, first of all, come on screen. Don't sit behind a black screen with a pick and shit. Actually, come on screen. But everyone's different. Some people are afraid of the camera. They don't want to be seen. Whatever his reasons are, I can respect it to an extent. But, it's more about what is said versus what is seen. So, he has an open invitation to come onto the cage match. And, we go head to head if that's what he really wants to do.
Okay. Well, I will make sure that I address that with him when I talk to him. Now, I am going to say this. I'm going to put on Ed Winchell's comment. And by the way, Mundungus, thank you for that comment about Drew Lock sucking. And then he drew the comparison between Minshew and Lock, where basically they had a brain freeze and he doesn't know what to do. Now, granted, I saw Minshew in the first game where he should have thrown an interception, and it should have been an interception had it not that the defensive back dropped it. So
no, that was the second game. He had that in the second game as well. If it happened in the first game, he had it twice. There was one that was in it was the defensive back. I believe it was a linebacker or a lineman. It was in his hands, and he was lucky that he dropped it because that would have been a pick. Not a pick six like what O'Connell had, but it should have been a pick, and he got lucky that it got dropped.
Okay. Well, I do know that he was lucky that he doesn't have an interception on his resume for the preseason as well. And again, just looking at what I've been seeing, I thought O'Connell had the job. Now I'm going to put this up. I'm talking about Ed Winchell, by the way.
Oh, I'm going back and forth with Ed Winchell too. But me and Ed, we got respect for each other, and we go back and forth. But it's in love. It's in love. We love each other, whether you mention it or not.
I don't agree with Ed. I love you, brother, but I don't agree with this. AOC has hit his ceiling and will be traded. I don't agree with that.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. And I actually have a theory, and I brought it up on my show in the cage match. But I really feel the reason Minshew's got the start in his first 4 games is look at the quarterbacks we're facing. They're all mobile quarterbacks. How best to train your defense than practicing with a mobile quarterback. How many times do teams bring in a player or have another player that's on their team that's similar to a quarterback they're about to face and practice against that kind of style? So you got the first 4 games, and AP made it clear. He said Minshew's the starter, and he talked about the first quarter of the season,
Right.
the
First quarter
first
of the
4
season.
games.
Right.
So after these first 4 games, who knows if we don't go to AOC or continue with Minshew? If Minshew goes 4-0, yeah, it's going to be hard to go against him. But in my theory is we got a quarterback that's similar to the 4 quarterbacks we're going to face, and that's why he's in there, is in order to help our defense be the best. And with the offensive line, yes, we're getting Colton Miller back, as they say, but we're missing JPJ. We need a quarterback that could possibly be mobile because of the fact our offensive line is not what we are expecting it to be to start the season. So you want somebody who could maybe move around. I think AOC commanded the pocket a lot better than Minshew. He seems like he had a grasp of Getsy's offense better than Minshew. I said in the comments, Minshew wants to leave that pocket way too early. There was times that the pocket was perfectly clean and he left when he didn't need to. And then there was times that he left the pocket and could have gained 3 or 4 yards. Instead, he did all that running around and threw an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw with Minshew. Go ahead. I was going to say, Minshew had, he'd have 2 plays that were bad and then make up for it in 1 play. That's not what you want on your team. You want a consistent, move the sticks kind of quarterback. Some people call that a game manager. But if you're moving the sticks and gaining points, isn't that what you expect out of your quarterback?
Hey, Rich Gannon was a game manager who was the NFL MVP. And I
mean, Patrick. I'll go with Patrick Mahomes. Early on in his career, he was that same kind of quarterback as Minshew. Get out of the pocket, run first, all that other shit. When did he start having success and winning Super Bowls? Is when Andy Reid made him stay in the pocket longer and go with his reads. And when they weren't there, then he extended the play and was able to work his magic. Those first, 2 or 3 years, he would want to move out of the pocket, be mobile first, and it did not work out for them.
Yeah. Actually, I agree. I do agree with this to a point with Mundungus, about it makes it easier for them to pull him if he's not doing his job and putting AOC in there. I can see. I can see that. And you don't want AOC to lose his confidence. I see it both ways, but it's like I still think that AOC was the better quarterback. But like Asylum is saying, if the Raiders are I would love for the Raiders to be 4-0, okay, but that would mean that you would have to beat the Chargers and the Ravens on the road, and then you come in and you beat the Panthers at home, and then you beat the Browns. And again, all of these guys' defense are swarming defenses, so you need a quarterback that can run out of the pocket. O'Connell can't do that yet. Maybe he will learn that under Minshew's guidance, but he needs – thank you. And Mike Sarah, you're just saying exactly what I'm saying. He needs to work on his mobility. And Mundungus –
mobility outside the pocket. Because if you watch the preseason, you saw the mobility with AOC in the pocket. He moved up. He slid around. AOC needs to work on his mobility out of the pocket. He had a couple of plays where he rolled out of the pocket. One of them was for an incomplete pass. And in the second game, he actually completed the pass to, I believe it was DJ Turner, who ended up getting good yardage after the fact. So there's a difference between mobility in the pocket and mobility out of the pocket.
Yeah. Hey, Mundungus, before we leave tonight, who do the Broncos have their first 4 games? Put that in the comments, because I'm going to make sure that I am under 2 hours on this. Remember, the first hour of this show is always seen on the national streaming sports network. It's the last hour that's not. So unfortunately, hey, they don't get a chance to see the better half of the show, I believe, which is always the second half. But we got that. Raiders will be in trouble. What's your take, gentlemen? Hey, Ed, I believe our O-line is better than it is shown. I think it'll be a lot better when Miller is practicing. I think it'll be a lot better when JPJ is inserted into the lineup.
You've got a couple of offensive linemen that are playing out of positions that they wanted, such as Mumford. They put him on the left instead of on the right, where Mumford, I think, is more comfortable next to JPJ. So you're going to have this, we're plug and playing, and maybe it's a situation where they're trying to put the quarterbacks in a situation where, in case of an injury, you can't depend on Colt Miller. He's had that shoulder injury that lasted all last year. Going into this year, we have to make sure we have a plan in place to replace him just in case. And I do like Mumford over there. He can't play it, but then without JPJ in there, you put Andreas Pete, which is not in the same level as a Colton Miller. He tried over there. That's where AOC got that sack because he got beat on 2 straight plays. Yeah. It was a hard hit on O'Connell and then a sack. And you're trying to fill in and see what you got and going on who could play where. And so as the health comes back to the offensive line, I think you're going to see a whole lot more and a whole lot better offensive line and a better pocket for whoever is going to be behind center when the time comes.
Okay. Well, again, I thank you for that. And you're just right up on our segue. We're about at 1:57. So you know how to end on the high note. I know. And Mundungus is pimping for Shedeur Sanders. I
don't want Sanders. I think a lot of hype's coming out of his father because his father, 2 different positions. I get going, and I'm not taking anything away from Dion, but he needs to be able to step away from his father, and let's see what can happen when he's not in his father's shadow and everything else. And then I'll be able to go from anything when it comes to him.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts, real quickly? What are your thoughts on Clinton Ewers? They're saying he might drop to the second round, and that would be a good place for him if the Raiders were picking him up.
All right. I think it depends on what we need at the time. I mean, when it comes to quarterback right now, let's see what we have. If we're still at the point of looking for a quarterback in the second round, I don't like taking a quarterback in the first round. We don't have a good history with taking him in the first round. Second round, third round, I'd rather do something like that. So if he's somebody who could drop to the second round and fulfill a need, I could be content with that.
Okay, and he can go to Dallas. Let him be Jerry Jones's headache. Bunner, I got to get you off because I'm about ready to go. Thanks again there, shipmate. Thank you for being on. Hollywood, thank you for popping in. Ed Winchell, I will be here on the phone for calling. And I want to again give a great thank you to our guest, Mundungus Creevy, as well as Raider Mode, who stepped in today. So thank you for all of that. Hey, I love Joe Milton, Mundungus. Joe Milton is a guy I would love. Or Hooker from the Lions. I'll take any of them. I got to shut up now. Take care there, Asylum. Get me a ride on Saturday, brother. Get me a ride.
I'll do my best. I'll see what I could do.
All right. Thanks, partner. I'm going to pop off here because I don't want to lose my two-hour notice. Thank you for watching. It is You Don't Know Jack About Sports. I'd take Joe Milton in a heartbeat. I'd actually Hendon Hooker from the Lions. Got to keep it under 2 hours. Thank you for being here. I will be here Sunday, and then we'll go from there. Again, NFL Nation Live starts next Wednesday. Make sure you are there. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you on our next show.